Hi, and welcome back to Shashi Deshpande's Learning to be a Mother. So far, we discussed in the last class about how she uh, she looked upon her mother and realized how her mother was a perfect mother figure, and she also gave us examples of how society tries to establish these roles about how what a good mother is and what a bad mother is, and how difficult it was for her to live up to that expectation, to live up to that picture of being the great mother, the sacrificing loving mother. And then she goes on to talk about how because she could not live up to that image, she she became very angry, okay, and she became confused, and that anger and confusion came about in her writing. Like it was reflected in her writing, and that because of that, in her writing, she wrote about characters who were not good mothers, to put it simply, right? And when during a seminar she was asked about this image that she's portrayed, then she's like and a student asked her, why did you portray such women who were so unwomanly, right? If you look at it here, you can see. So she replies by saying that, she does not say much during that time, but she thinks that it is better if she would have said that maybe it is the stereotyped image of the mother that you have in your mind that is the problem. What I am writing is not the problem. The problem is how you choose to view women, how you choose to view mothers, right? So it's a problem of perspective, is what she says. And she also says that it's not that these women do not love, okay? They do love, because there can be conflict only where there is love. Now that the children have gone away to live their own lives, I sometimes get a glimpse of an answer to some of my questions and confusion. So now her children are all grown up and they've gone away to live their own lives. And it is now, after all these years, that sometimes she gets the answers to some of her questions that were unanswerable earlier. When you become a mother, you do not automatically shed all your personality, okay? So it's not an automatic reaction like the day you become a mother suddenly you become a completely different person. No, you do not automatically shed your personality, okay, and become just a mother, okay? That is not who you are. You are still a person. You are still your own individual. I'm not going to say that you're still a wife, you're still a daughter, because those are again projected roles. Okay, you are still your own individual with your own individual rights and your own individual desires. So that is what she says. You are still the person that you were before becoming a mother, an individual who has lived and developed for years before becoming a mother. Okay, so when we look at women purely as mother figures, we forget that, maybe for the past 25 to 27 years, all right, or whatever years that they lived, they were an individual who had their own life, okay, and one fine day they're expected to leave all that and devote everything to the child. Motherhood is neither sorry about that. Yes, motherhood is neither sacred nor holy, okay? It's not, none of this according to Deshpande. It is natural. All right. Since nature wants you to nurture the very vulnerable young life you have produced, it links you to it in such a way that the child becomes an extension of yourself. Okay. So nature, she's talking about it in a very, very scientific manner. All right. All living beings, when they give birth to the young ones, they take care of those young ones until they are not dependent on anyone anymore. Right? With animals, the process is faster, but with humans, they take a long time to become independent. So that mother nature tries to uh, make sure that you nurture the life that you have created, and that's why in doing that, that life or that child becomes an extension. നമ്മുടെ തന്നെ ഒരു ഭാഗമായിട്ട്, നമ്മുടെ ഒരു extended ഭാഗമായിട്ടായി മാറും. Right? The tragedy is to expect that link to stay the same way. ഇതിന്റെ tragedy എന്താണ്? ജനിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു കുഞ്ഞിന് അതിന്റെ അമ്മേനെ വേണം, അല്ലെ? അതിന് സർവൈവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല വിത്തൗട്ട് ദ മദർ. ദ മദർ ഇസ് ഇറ്റ് സോൾ, എന്താ, അതിന് ആകെ ഉള്ള ഒരു കംഫർട്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അമ്മയാണ്. വേറെ ആരുടെക്കാളും കൂടുതൽ it recognizes only the mother, because because of the 9 months in the womb, വയറ്റിൽ കിടക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അമ്മയായിട്ട് മാത്രമേ കണക്ഷൻ ഉള്ളൂ. പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു പുതിയ ലോകത്തേക്ക് വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും മൊത്തം കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ ആണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന കുട്ടികൾ ഒരുപാട് കിടന്ന് കരയുന്നത്, ബിക്കോസ് ദേ ആർ അഫ്രെയ്ഡ്. ഓക്കെ, എപ്പോഴും വിശന്നിട്ടായിരിക്കില്ല അവർ കരയുന്നത്. they just want comfort sometimes, right? So what happens is that is a very very close connection between a mother and the infant. But as the child grows up, കുട്ടികൾ വലുതാവുമ്പോൾ അതേ കണക്ഷൻ പിന്നീടും ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് ട്രാജഡി. Alright, even after the need for which nature has instilled it in you is over. അതായത് നേച്ചർ ആ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെ നേർച്ചർ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള അവരെ സംരക്ഷിക്കാനായിട്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് തന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ ആ ഒരു ആവശ്യം കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിയുമ്പോഴും എങ്ങനെയാണ് കുട്ടികളും അമ്മയും തമ്മിലൊരു കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത് എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Nature's goal is birth and survival. Okay, നേച്ചറുടെ ഗോൾ എന്താണ്? ഒരു പുതിയ ജീവൻ ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പോൾ that first of all is that a new life should be born. Alright, second of all is that new life should survive. അതിന്റെ അപ്പുറത്തോട്ട് നേച്ചറിന്റെ ആവശ്യങ്ങൾ ഒന്നുമില്ല എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. But we are humans, we are different, we are not like animals, right? Set apart from the rest of nature's creation. Exactly, since we can think, we can also accept the truth that mothers are humans. Okay, and mothers are humans as well as they are mothers. Remember we talked about how human qualities illatha mother neയാണ് നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും നമ്മുടെ മീഡിയയിലൂടെ കാണുന്നത്. Who does not eat, who does not drink, who sacrifices everything. But here Deshpande says that they are human and they are mothers also, and therefore mothers can be selfish. Okay, that can happen. Mothers can be cruel. All right, mothers can want freedom. എപ്പോഴും കുട്ടികളോട് കൂടെ ഇരിക്കണം എന്നല്ല ആയിരിക്കില്ല. They might want freedom, right, from clinging. എന്താ എപ്പോഴും ഈ കുട്ടി ഓട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നതിനേക്കാളും നല്ലത് they might want to have some of their own time. All this even while they are loving their children. അപ്പം ക്രൂവൽ ആയിരുന്നാലോ സെൽഫിഷ് ആയിരുന്നാലോ കുറച്ച് സമയം ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് ഇരിക്കാൻ ആഗ്രഹിച്ചാലോ it does not mean that they do not love their children. Okay, they can be all this while loving their children and nurturing them, while taking care of them. We must accept the truth that mothers can be unreasonable and possessive. അതൊരു ഉള്ള കാര്യമാണ് അല്ലേ? Because they spend so much of their life nurturing this child. അതുകൊണ്ട് automatically they become unreasonable in their demands. They become very very possessive. They can be cruel, neglectful and sadistic. Okay, അങ്ങനെ സ്വഭാവമുള്ളവരുണ്ട്. Hating their children, battering them. Some women hate their children. Okay, and they make sure that the women are pulled down, the children are pulled down in one way or the other. Between this extreme and the other extreme, appo idu രണ്ട് extreme ആണ്. One extreme is of the mother who does not care for her own self and only cares for the children. The other extreme is the bad mother who does not care at all, and she tries to hurt her children. Between these two extremes of the ideal mother stretches a long line on which most of us stand. Okay, so most of the women that are around you today, they are all standing in the line between all this, between the two extremes of the ideal mother and the bad mother. Nowhere on the line is there a point that marks the point of perfect motherhood. Okay, so it's like a line. She's imagining that there's a line between 2 points. ആ 2 പോയിന്റ്സിന്റെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് ഒരു സ്പേസ് ഉണ്ട്. ആ സ്പേസിന്റെ ഇടയിലാണ് എല്ലാ അമ്മമാരും നിൽക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ ആ സ്പേസിൽ ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് പോലും ഇതാണ് പെർഫെക്റ്റ് പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് പറയാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. Motherhood is something that cannot be calibrated. Okay, so one second. Sorry about that. So motherhood is not something that has a perfect point where you say that this is the point. ഇത്രയും ഗുഡ്നെസ്സും ഇത്രയും എന്താ സെൽഫിനെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള വിചാരവും ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടെ വരുമ്പോഴാണ് പെർഫെക്റ്റ് മദർഹുഡ് വരുന്നത്. There is no point like that. Okay, it is not something that can be calibrated. That means it's not something that can be adjusted according to എന്താ നമ്മുടെ റേഡിയോയിൽ ഫ്രീക്വൻസീസ് അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ motherhood cannot be adjusted like that, right? Why didn't someone tell me this earlier? Deshpande asked. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരുപാട് വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞ്, after her children are already old, now is when she's realizing all this and she's saying that why didn't someone tell me all this earlier? Why didn't I know it's natural or normal to feel trapped with your children? Okay, that she always throughout her young life when she was taking care of her children, she always felt trapped, and she thought that she's abnormal because of that. But she's saying that why didn't anyone tell me that it is very very normal to feel these feelings, to want freedom, to be resentful and angry when you are deprived of sleep for 2 to 3 years continuously and not allowed even a single moment to yourself. All right, so why didn't anyone tell her all this? Simone de Beauvoir, in her book A Very Easy Death, writes of a moment of truth for her when she asked herself why she was so affected by her mother's illness. So she's giving us the example of Simone de Beauvoir, who is one of the biggest proponents of feminism. Okay, she's very great writer also. And Simone de Beauvoir in her book is talking about how she was affected by her mother's illness. And there was a point during this time that when she realized why she is so affected, and she calls that point as the moment of truth, okay, where she's things started becoming clear for her. She says the illness and hospitalization had wrenched her mother, out of the framework, the role, the set of images in which I had imprisoned her. So what happened is that until then, Simone de Beauvoir had a very, very ideal image of her mother, the mother who was, much like our ideal image of the mothers. Now, what happened is that as soon as the mother fell ill and she was continuously hospitalized, what happened is that suddenly she was pulled out of the framework. അതായത് ഒരു ഫ്രെയിമിനകത്ത് ഇങ്ങനെ പെർഫെക്റ്റ് മദർ, ഐഡിയൽ മദർ എന്നുള്ള അതിന്റെ ഒരു പിക്ചറിനകത്തായിരുന്നു ഇരുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ ആ ഒരു റോളിൽ നിന്ന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു ഇമേജിൽ നിന്ന് പുൾ ഔട്ട് ആണ് ചെയ്തത് this hospitalization, because she is now unable to do anything for herself. She has to be taken care of. But mother is the one who takes care of everyone, അല്ലേ? അങ്ങനെയുള്ളപ്പോൾ how is it that suddenly she has to take care of her mother? So she had imprisoned her, she says. ആ ഒരു ഫ്രെയിംവർക്ക് ഓഫ് ദ ഐഡിയൽ മദറിലേക്ക് അമ്മേനെ ഇംപ്രിസൺ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ഈ ഒരു ഹോസ്പിറ്റലൈസേഷനും ഇൽനെസ്സും ഒക്കെ വന്നപ്പോഴാണ് അതിൽ നിന്ന് വലിഞ്ഞു മാറിയത്. Okay, we all do this. I have done it to my mother and my children do it to me. We all do it consciously or unconsciously. We try to paint a perfect picture of the mother, and we find it very difficult when our mothers go astray from those lines that we have drawn. And therefore the conflicts and the anger when children see mothers stepping out of their roles, when they seem to go against the image of the children have of their mother. Okay, so that is where the conflict and the anger begins, when they see that അവര് മനസ്സിൽ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന അമ്മയുടെ ഫിഗറിൽ നിന്ന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായി അമ്മ